Midsummer, they're starting to harvest really good sweet corn, which is my favorite time of the year. So, sweet corn, green beans, tomatoes, etc. This is a great time to be eating. It's also a great time for COVID. So here we are. We had thought that we could begin to forget about this, and then the president pops positive, which, if you haven't heard, yesterday they announced that he's at a meeting in Las Vegas, tested positive. And maybe there's even a producer of this series that has had a recent experience with COVID, who's behind the camera here. And she describes it as a not fun experience, as the prior COVID was. But a lot of the symptoms are not quite the same, not the loss of smell and taste, not as much of a cough, but the wipeout feeling and the fever, and the brain fog. And so there we are. So here we are. We're going to talk about it again. Masks, for you, to be able to prevent the spread to other people. If you're in mass transit and other crowd situations where you're not comfortable, a plain surgical mask or a civilian mask. These are cotton masks. Here we are with the N95 mask that has typically a couple sets of straps here. These are to protect you from other people. So the plain surgical mask offers a little bit of protection from other people, but this filters air that's coming into your lungs, which may happen to have the virus in it. And so an N95, dig them out if you want to be protected at this point. And then I brought a sampling from the house of the last two federal government related COVID tests. They're marked as expired a year ago. We have received confirmation that these are still effective despite the expiration date, as long as you didn't, crush the box and expose it to extremes of temperature. The tests are still accurate, and they're still showing accurate for people who've had COVID. So unfortunately, we're talking about COVID. Now, here's the story on the vaccines. If you get a vaccine now, it is a mix of the vaccine with the variants that we have had this fall, and they haven't given us a definite date yet. This fall, they will have tweaked the vaccine to account for the new variants of COVID. Some of you may feel comfortable getting the vaccine now. It will give you some degree of protection from the current variants and those that are expected in the near future. Some of you will say, well, I'm going to wait until we get towards holiday time, school time, certain work event times, and want to get your COVID shot, which will be updated in the fall at some point. The fall typically to the government means September, October, maybe November, but typically that is the release time for a new version of a COVID vaccine. Some of you may be able to get a vaccine that has both a flu component plus COVID, so it'll be one jab for the different diseases. Many of you will still require two jabs, one for influenza and one for COVID. So there we are. Timely topic for us for the summertime. We are developing programs to put in the hands of the lay public what the lay public can do to save lives. This is about anyone being able to save lives. We have the development of drone programs that will deliver to the hands of rescuers, 911 callers, a package. And in that package are the things that you need to save a life. We have 3 or 4 flavors of them. In your community, your fire EMS services may be putting this into place, connected to your 911 center. At the 911 center, they receive a call that there's an emergency, and let's just use cardiac arrest. There's somebody down and they're not breathing, and someone's doing CPR. No AED is immediately available. That's fine. You're within the range of our drone program, and we will dispatch a drone. Here's the basics of a drone program. A drone is housed in a hangar somewhere. That is a relatively small device, but these drones, just so you know, may be 5 feet in size, that large. They will come to the address that you have given or that it geolocates your phone at, like if you're on a golf course. It hovers overhead and lowers down to you a package. In that package might be one of four things, or maybe more. Those four things will enable you to then grab, then be able to follow the dispatcher instructions to use one of the components in there, get it to apply to the patient, and then just so you know what happens in the back end, that drone goes back to its base. When the fire EMS crews arrive, they pick the box back up. They take whatever appliances that you used and they put the box back in service with new appliances. How's that for slick? These have a cost associated with them, but in places that are hard to get to, and where I am, gated communities and large communities that you can't put a medic unit and an engine close enough to get to them within a 10 or 12-minute time interval. That's how communities are being built out now. And those of you in fast growing metropolitan areas, there's a lot of spots like that that don't have new fire EMS stations in place. The promise of this program is delivery of a package of medical equipment 3.2 miles from the point that the hangar is, which will take 3 minutes, and it will deliver the package. So let's talk about what's in the package because it's important that you understand these. We have in our design four elements. We have an AED, we have tourniquets, we have a Narcan spray for the nose, and we have an EpiPen. Those are four tools that in the hands of a bystander can save a life. The AED is a small version, and the dispatcher, again, still on the phone with the caller, would say, go grab the AED portion, which is colored like such and such. Bring it inside, take the shirt off of the patient, apply the pads, turn it on the red button, and follow the instructions. And then the dispatcher may stay on until the EMS crew or the fire crew arrives, or they may close out at that point. That is the fastest way for us to deliver shocks to a patient in cardiac arrest in certain circumstances. And in places like golf courses, in new areas under construction that don't even have addresses yet, in hiking paths and in parks, those pieces of equipment can get there overhead much faster than we can get a vehicle there and a crew walking with that equipment in their hands. Eventually, you, of course, have to have that crew and you have to have stretchers and other things to get the patient out. Nonetheless, this is an exciting development. Tool two is a tourniquet or a set of tourniquets that would be applied to somebody who has bleeding that can't be controlled of an extremity. Those tourniquets are applied, and the dispatcher would talk you through again how to pop the package open, how to unscrew any parts of it that are held together, place it on that extremity, take it up to the top of the extremity, let's say an arm, they bring it all the way up to the top. Use the orange straps to pull as hard as you can, and then use that stick device there, twist it, and then apply one of the other strips to hold it in place. That should hurt the patient. It should have stopped the bleeding. The third piece is a Narcan intranasal administrator. So those are little spray devices. They are in another compartment. The dispatcher would say there's a potential for an overdose, or you would tell the dispatcher that an overdose has occurred. That dispatcher would then say, take out that package, bring it to the patient, open it up, see the device. It's intended for injection into either one of the nostrils. Push on it, and it will inject that amount of medicine into the nose. The fourth tool is an EpiPen, which is epinephrine, which is our medicine for anaphylaxis or acute severe allergic reactions. You would have called and said, I have a patient who's having, or a friend or a relative who's having an allergic reaction. They have a known allergy to peanuts, shrimp, penicillin. Somehow they got it, or they got stung by an insect of some type, and they're having an acute allergic reaction. that's fine. Take out the yellow package, which would have the EpiPen in it. That is a device that has a spring-loaded needle in it, and you would be instructed to either pull to expose the upper part of the thigh in whatever way that you can. You're going to take it, you're going to hold it on the sides. You never hold it over the end. You hold it on the sides. You press it, you push it, and the script says you'll push it against the surface of the thigh. And at that point, it will inject the medicine. It inserts the needle out of its little carriage area and hold it in place for 10 seconds. It will deliver all of the medication that is in the little glass vial. So 4 different circumstances, obviously, that you would use the 4 different tools. And all of those in the hands of bystanders can be life-saving. Many of you have pieces of these in place already. You have an AED near you. They're now coming available on the consumer market, just so you know. Everybody should have a tourniquet. You never know when an accident may occur, you or somebody you love or somebody who's working near you, or you come up on a scene of an accident and someone's bleeding extremely and you're not able to get enough pressure on it to control the bleeding, or for whatever reason the wound won't stop bleeding, and you apply a tourniquet to the wound to keep them from losing all of their blood. The third tool is for people who have opiate overdoses, like fentanyl, and a reversal agent is Narcan, which wakes them up and gets them breathing again. And then the fourth agent is epinephrine in a spring-loaded pen that you press against the thigh, deliver the medicine that way to someone having an acute allergic reaction. So those are things you can do as a bystander to save lives. Those pieces are sometimes available at your work site. Some of you have EpiPens at home because you have relatives with known problems. You've probably practiced on those before. Anyway, our new availability of programs like drone programs to get these into the hand of bystanders before fire and EMS or law enforcement can get there is a way we can save lives. That's what we want to do. That's a hot topic this summer. We are looking forward very much to putting those in place in our community. And you should talk to your local law enforcement, EMS, and fire providers in your community about getting them where you live. Thanks for listening. It's Doc Talk. It's summertime, still warm in most parts of the country. No talk of snow. Let's begin there. Stay safe until I talk to you in August. Take care, everyone. Thank you.